Oh man.
Nah, that would be awesome though if we were sponsored by Jack Daniels.
Yo,
considering
what, bro? I got the repertoire right here. Apple, fire, honey.
I truth be told, I almost poured myself up a glass of something myself, but I drank a lot over the fourth weekend, so I'm trying to get back down to a respectable level. You know what I mean?
A little detox there.
Yeah.
Bro, well, got in the grill? Got in the grill this weekend?
Who, me or you?
Oh, you know I did, bro. You know I did.
Don't act like you know what you're doing.
A little something. A little bit.
Well, anyway, listeners, welcome back to another episode of the New Block Nerds podcast. I'm your host, Chris, a.k.a. Prince, with the homie Duran, a.k.a. Medic Grizzly. Duran, how we doing, bro?
Always good, bro. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling great. I am, coming off the heels of a long July 4th weekend. Mm-hmm. It was awesome. I hope you and your family had a great time. We're back here, guys. Another episode of Tuesday Thrones, picking up where we left off last time with Bran. Now we're on the first Tyrion chapter. One of my and Duran's favorite characters. I'm sure all of you guys out there listening to this, you guys also love Tyrion. Otherwise, you wouldn't have clicked on the damn video. So we pick up right where we left off after Bran has fallen. I shouldn't say fallen. After he was pushed out the fucking window. And Tyrion is up and he's going to go get breakfast with his family, Jaime, Cersei, Tommen, and Myrcella. So, Duran, this is a very short chapter, but it's the first Tyrion chapter, and it gives us so much about who Tyrion is. Your first time reading it, I know you've seen the show. It's your first time really reading being in Tyrion's head. What were your thoughts about this chapter overall?
He's the GOAT, bro. He is the GOAT. He is the mastermind. Like, he is the walking Game of Thrones. Like, is in his head. Everyone's like looking down at him. He's deformed. He has to hop on get down steps. How his facial structure looks. This man's playing chess in his head, asking the right questions, reading what you're doing. You think you're hiding your emotions. He's already ahead of you. He's like purposely looking for responses. Dude's a freaking awesome guy.
Yeah, like Tyrion is one of those guys. Again, we talked about it with a couple other characters like Jon and Arya. Tyrion is very observant. But the difference between Arya and Jon and him is Tyrion's a grown man. So while Arya and Jon, they pay attention to a lot of shit, Tyrion's also been around the block a couple of times. And so he knows how people move. He knows how people try to hide shit. And it's very evident of how quickly he picks up on things. And just how savvy he is in the ways of really just like showing face and understanding, who he is as a person, what his family name means, and what kind of things are expected of them, right? And we get that very early on when he's in the yard and he's talking to Prince Joffrey, and he's letting him know, look, you need to go find Lord Stark and Lady Stark, and you need to give them your condolences and let them know if there's anything they need, you're there for them. You are the crown prince of the realm. Your absence has been noted. It's not a good look for you not to go talk to your father's best friend about his son just falling out a fucking window and almost dying, right? And of course, Joffrey being Joffrey, that we all know and hate, is being a little prick about it.
Yep.
And he makes some sly comments, and Tyrion slaps the ever-loving dog shit out of him.
Smack the bullshit out of him.
And he smacks the shit out of him twice, right? Because he's like, honestly, the book is just like how it happened in the show. He like slaps him, and he's like, say one more word, and I'll slap you again. He's like, I'm telling mother, and he's like, shut up. And I love that so early on, because like we saw in a couple other chapters already that Joffrey's a prick, right? He's a crown prince. He's spoiled. He's a little asshole. And Tyrion seems to be the only person who has any balls to put this little shit in his place. And I love that.
And it's so like situational awareness is what Tyrion has. Tyrion knows what to do and not to do when it comes to the realm, because he had to witness from his family, being also seeing how being the outsider, visually taking everything in. It's important for you. You want to marry a daughter to go and speak and show. He said, get on your knees and just ask for it. He's giving you game, and you're going to say, no, I'm not doing it. You want to act all big and bad in front of your hound. And I'm going to put you back in your place, bro. I'm going to give you a little 2-piece here. Now go take care of your business. Go tell mommy. Make sure you tell her that again. And then the hound replies like, he's going to remember that. Well, good. You make sure you tell him and remind him exactly what is happening.
Like a good dog. And that's the thing. That's the thing I like about Tyrion too. Is just like he's so vindictive in little ways like that, because when he first comes out into the yard and he's calling after Joffrey, the hound kind of belittles him and is like, oh, you know, who's talking? Because obviously Tyrion's a dwarf and he's making fun of him. Mm-hmm. But the hound is Joffrey's dog. I mean, the sigil is a dog. So like, you know, the irony is not lost there as far as like his nickname. But it's just so funny that like, you know, Tyrion didn't let that slide
at all.
All those little jabs that people throw at him, he always gives it back. And that's the thing that people have said for years, is that Tyrion's best weapon is his mouth.
Bro, like the fact that he told him what to do, and that he thought because of his henchmen and everyone around him that he could just bypass it. And then you say, I'm going to tell my mom, as in the queen, as in like the highest authority outside of the king. And you still say, well, too bad. Do it anyway. And right. Bernie, that just tells you how dope this man is, and tells you like, I don't care. I walk at the beat of my own drum. What you going to do about it? Go Nothing. Take care of that. Change your clothes. We're done with this conversation.
But it's also I do feel like in a way too, like Joffrey is his nephew, right? Like I do think he is trying to teach Joffrey something here. Joffrey's just unwilling to learn, right? Like Joffrey, he comes off as someone like we've all seen those kids that you've seen. You're just like, that kid's clearly never had an ass whooping before in their life, right? Yes. Joffrey is one of those kids, okay? And Tyrion is trying to teach this kid some act right, and trying to teach him how to conduct himself as the crown prince of the realm. And he's just being a little shit. So Tyrion, being Tyrion, is the only one who's gonna put him in his place and try to teach him something.
And the cool thing about this, Tyrion's doing this on his walk to somewhere else. Like it wasn't like his main mission was to this. It's like, yeah, side quest. Let me do this real quick.
Let me go over here and slap the shit out of the crown prince.
Now let me get back on the main mission. Peace. Let me out of here.
All right.
And then you see him basically rekindle. You said the breakfast with his family, twins, and he mentions how the daughter has the elegance and the grace and the beauty of the queen, not the personality. Mm-hmm. It also lets you know that, hey, she is a beast on her own. Everyone's not like her. And then you just see how he fills the whole room, and how Jaime's the only one that ever showed him love. So you mentioned how he's always having comebacks. He's very witty. He lets it slide a little bit with Jaime because Jaime showed him love. And you see that interaction, and it's just like brotherly love you always wanted. And Jaime gives it to him. Jaime throws some strong jabs back at him. And it's just cool seeing that interaction, that he's not always a slick mouth guy.
Right. Right. Like Tyrion is very thoughtful. And I love the relationship between him and Jaime, because to your point, Jaime is the only person who really, truly actually gives a fuck about Tyrion, which is so sad. But it also just informs, you know, kind of the reason why Tyrion acts the way that he does. Because no one really gives a fuck about him, but he is highly intelligent. So he realizes that. And while it gets to him, he never lets it show that it gets to him. Right. So he's always kind of throwing little snide comments back and forth with his sister, because his sister fucking hates him. Right. And again, we talk about Tyrion being super observant and paying attention to everything that's going on and putting things together. He knew before he even got to breakfast that they had something to do with Bran falling out the window.
Yes.
Right. And there's a little passage in here where he talks about the maester saying that the boy may live, and he notices a look that Jaime and Cersei give each other, only for a moment, but Tyrion catches it. And that right there is all Tyrion needs to confirm his suspicions. That like, wow, okay,
You guys fucked
got
up.
it. You guys fucked up. You guys fucked up.
And on top of that, he kept digging. Like, yeah, the hound wolf out there is keeping him alive. And then you see his sister's like, well, it's not allowed down by where I'm back at. It has to stay up here. Like, as in implying that she hates the fact that he's keeping him alive. And then Jaime's like, well, if he was my kid, I would already end him. I can't have him suffer. He can't. What kind of life is that going to be? He's been there for 4 days. His back is broken. His legs are crushed. He will never be able to walk. What kind of food is he going to have? What kind of life will he have? Let's end him right now. And Tyrion's like, I wouldn't say that again around Big Ned. Just keep that to yourself. Right. Just want to see your reaction to things. He's definitely poking the bear and just taking notes.
Right. Yeah. And he kind of, makes a little bit of a joke out about it, by talking about, well, speaking as someone who's part of the cripple community, paraphrasing here, but, like he said, death is so final. Life is full of so many possibilities. Like, so what if he's going to be in a wheelchair? Like, I'm a dwarf. I'm still out here living. Like, he's still the son of a great lord. Like, plus I'm very interested to hear what he has to say, and that kind of really gets under Jaime and Cersei's skin. But you kind of see the difference in going back to what you said about Myrcella, about her having all the looks and the beauty of Cersei, but none of her nature. Mm-hmm. About her and Tom, and they don't want Bran to die because they're good kids. They don't want some kid to die. Obviously, they have no idea what's at stake here, right? So that's part of it. But I loved seeing how Jaime and Cersei were kind of like leaning more towards, well, kind of hope this kid dies, and then their kids are like, no, well, we don't want Bran to die. You know what I mean? It just shows that innocence of these kids versus their parents, who are absolute shitbags at this point in the book.
And Jaime got so what side are you on? Are you on our side? Don't know. And it's having Tyrion playing the game. Like, he's just playing around, just having a good time. It's like his job is to piss off the world. And then speaking of pissing, hey, how are you going to the wall? Yeah. Are you going to go there? Me, a virgin? Never. I just want to stand off the wall and piss off. That is telling you how OG this man is. Like, his mind is so just enjoying life and enjoying every freaking moment because he's been shitted on so much.
Yep. No, that's a great point. And Cersei uses that joke of him, talking about me celibate. Oh, whores will go begging from the wall to Dorne, or whatever he says. She's uses that as an excuse to get away from Tyrion, because she can't stand being around Tyrion for only a couple of minutes anyways. But yeah, no, to your point, when Jaime's sometimes I wonder, man, whose side you're really on. And Tyrion's you that actually kind of wounds me a little bit. I love my family. I would never fuck y'all over. I'm curious. Yes. I'm curious. And again, it's just Jaime confirming all of Tyrion's suspicions that yeah, we had something to do with this. Because why else would Jaime say, oh, I wonder whose side you're on sometimes. You want this kid to live. Why? It's well, if the kid just fell out the window, then what's the big deal, Jaime? Wink, wink. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
he's just a kid. He's just a kid. What do you care for? There's more to it.
Right. So again, it's just, this chapter is only 6 pages long. It's a great introduction to Tyrion. I love how well we get to learn the ins and outs of his brain and how he works, what his personality is, in 6 short pages. And we get a lot in this. He goes to the yard, slaps the shit out of Joffrey, goes and gets breakfast, kind of talks Cersei off, and kind of, is just winning at every conversation he has. And that's going to be something that's going to be consistent throughout these books. It's one of the reasons why Tyrion's one of my favorite characters to have POVs with, because dude, he can just talk his way out of anything, bro. He is amazing.
freaking enjoying every single moment.
Yes.
And like I said, it's only 6 pages for this chapter. I'm looking forward to his next chapter because he's going to the wall, and I just want to see the interacting, like, because John's also going to the wall. Just seeing how it's going to talk. Of course, we've seen our television show and how it portrayed everything, but seeing more of the details and the savviness, and then seeing if John's going to pick up and learn, because Tyrion wants to teach. He wants the world to be better.
Yep.
That's why he's trying to help his nephew. That's why he's talking to his brother. He's trying to everyone to. He gets crapped on enough. He doesn't want people to keep on doing that. He loves his family. He wants people to protect everybody, but everyone doesn't have the same moral code that he has. And we start to see how the picture's being painted in the next couple of chapters.
Yeah. No, and to your point too, before we get out of here, he does want to teach. He wants to learn. I mean, at the beginning of the chapter, he was reading a book in Winterfell's library. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of person that he is. He's very studious. He's very curious about the world and about history, and with that comes a level of like intellectual curiosity that like a lot of people in a setting like this just don't have, right? Mm-hmm. Because they're just so used to just the status quo, and the status quo keeps them rich and it keeps them, all the privileges that they have. So, but again, Tyrion doesn't have the same privileges because he's a dwarf. You know what I mean? It's like you said, he's been shitting on his whole life. So, it's kind of forced him to develop other ways of kind of getting by. And, that's his wits, and that's why we love him. That's why we love him, because he doesn't swing a sword better than everyone else. That's not the reason why we love him. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, again, short chapter. Can't wait until next week. I think we are on, who is next? John is next. We're getting another John chapter. So, looking forward to that. Guys, we do this every Tuesday. We're going through a Song of Ice and Fire books. Right now we're on the Game of Thrones. We will be doing John again next week. So make sure to tune in, like, subscribe, comment. Don't forget, we do this every Tuesday. Tuesday Thrones, #Tuesday Thrones. Share it with your friends. Let us know what you guys think. Yeah, that's it. We'll see you guys in the next one. Deron, it's been a pleasure as always, bro. And we'll catch you guys next week.
Peace and love.